In the still darkness before dawn, when the world sleeps peacefully, thousands of seniors lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep has abandoned them yet again. That moment when the clock reads 3:15 a.m. can feel so isolating, can't it? You're not alone in this midnight vigil. Did you know that over 70% of adults over 70 experience regular sleep disruptions, with the most common awakening time being between 3 and 5 a.m.? What's more concerning is that persistent sleep problems can increase your risk of serious health complications by up to 45%, affecting everything from your heart health to your cognitive function. But here's what your doctor might not be telling you. These early morning awakenings aren't just normal signs of aging to be accepted. They're often signals your body is sending, messages that need to be heard and addressed. And contrary to what many believe, you don't have to resign yourself to years of interrupted sleep and exhausted days. I've helped thousands of seniors reclaim their peaceful nights, and today I'm sharing 9 surprisingly effective strategies that have transformed their sleep and their lives. These aren't complicated medical procedures or expensive therapies. They're simple adjustments anyone can make. Stay with me until the end, because the final tip is something almost no medical professional shares with their patients. Yet it's been the single most powerful solution for many of my viewers who thought they'd never enjoy a full night's sleep again. Tip number 1, recognize your body's natural rhythm changes. As we age, our sleep architecture undergoes significant shifts. Many seniors find themselves caught in a frustrating cycle, exhausted during the day, yet wide awake in those pre-dawn hours. This isn't just annoying, it can significantly impact your overall health and quality of life. Take Eleanor, a 74-year-old retired librarian who came to me utterly depleted. "I fall asleep fine at 9 p.m., she told me, "but by 3:30 a.m., I'm wide awake, no matter what." Eleanor had tried everything from sleeping pills to counting sheep, but nothing seemed to work. She felt like her body was betraying her. What Eleanor didn't realize is that our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep, naturally shifts as we age. The pineal gland produces less melatonin, and our body temperature fluctuations change. This isn't a malfunction, it's a normal biological shift. Many seniors actually have a natural sleep pattern that includes waking briefly in the middle of the night. Instead of fighting against this rhythm, try working with it. If you consistently wake at 3 or 4 a.m., consider adjusting your bedtime accordingly. Eleanor started going to bed at 10:30 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. and found she could sleep until a more reasonable 5 a.m., feeling much more rested. Keep a sleep journal for a week, noting when you naturally feel tired and when you wake up. Then shift your bedtime to align with these patterns rather than forcing yourself into a schedule that worked in your younger years. Have you noticed your sleep patterns changing over the years? Share in the comments when you tend to wake up. You might be surprised how many others share your exact timing. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Tip number 2, address hidden anxiety. Triggers, those quiet hours before dawn, often amplify our worries, turning minor concerns into mountains of anxiety. That racing mind that keeps you staring at the ceiling isn't just robbing you of sleep, it's creating a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to break. Martin, a 78-year-old former teacher, would wake like clockwork at 3:45 a.m. "It starts with one worry about my grandchildren," he explained, "and suddenly I'm thinking about everything from my retirement savings to that pain in my hip." By morning, he was exhausted and anxious, carrying that fatigue throughout his day. What's happening in your brain during these episodes is fascinating. During the early morning hours, cortisol, your stress hormone, begins its natural daily rise. For seniors already prone to anxiety, this normal hormonal shift can trigger a cascade of worries, especially when you're lying in the dark with few distractions. Create a worry journal and keep it by your bedside. When you wake up with racing thoughts, write them down, not to solve them, but to transfer them from your mind to the page. This simple act signals to your brain that these concerns are handled until morning. Martin found that after writing down his concerns, he could fall back asleep within 15 minutes most nights. Another powerful technique is to prepare a calming thought or memory before bed. When Martin wakes now, instead of letting worry take over, he deliberately recalls fishing with his father on summer mornings, focusing on sensory details. The cool mist rising from the lake, the gentle rocking of the boat, the distant call of birds awakening. This pleasant mental redirection often allows him to drift back to sleep naturally. If you found yourself caught in this cycle of 3 a.m. worries, you're not alone. Has anxiety ever woken you up? Type number 2 in the comments if you're going to try the worry journal tonight. Tip number 3, regulate your evening temperature. The warmth of thick blankets and heated rooms might feel cozy as you drift off to sleep, but it could be setting you up for that frustrating 3 a.m. awakening. Your body's temperature regulation plays a crucial role in sleep maintenance, yet it's often overlooked by those struggling with sleep issues. Clara, a 75-year-old grandmother of 6, couldn't understand why she kept waking up sweating at 4 a.m., despite going to bed feeling perfectly comfortable. I'd be sound asleep, then suddenly I'm wide awake, throwing off the covers, and that was it. No more sleep for me, she sighed during our conversation. Here's what Clara didn't know. Our body temperature naturally drops during deep sleep, reaching its lowest point in the early morning hours. However, as we age, our temperature regulation becomes less efficient. If your bedroom is too warm or you're bundled under heavy blankets, your body can't achieve this natural cooling, often causing you to wake up when your temperature regulation tries to correct itself. Try lowering your thermostat to between 65 or 68 degrees from 18 to 20 degrees before bed. Clara was skeptical. She'd always preferred a warm room, but after trying it for a week, she reported sleeping through until 6 a.m. for the first time in years. Layer lighter blankets that you can remove easily rather than using one heavy comforter. And consider moisture-wicking pajamas that help regulate body temperature. A warm bath or shower 90 minutes before bedtime can also help. This temporarily raises your body temperature, and the subsequent cooling mimics the natural drop that signals your body it's time for sleep. When Clara added this to her routine, she found herself sleeping even more soundly. Do you find yourself kicking off covers during the night? Has temperature affected your sleep? Share your experience with cool or warm in the comments. Tip number 4, rethink your evening hydration. That soothing cup of herbal tea before bed or the glass of water on your nightstand seems innocent enough, doesn't it? Yet for many seniors, nighttime hydration habits are the hidden culprits behind those consistent early morning awakenings. Harold, an 82-year-old retired postal worker, was puzzled by his nightly ritual of waking at exactly 3:20 a.m. I get up to use the bathroom and that's it. I'm up for the day, he told me with frustration in his eyes. But I need my evening tea. It's been my routine for decades. What Harold didn't realize is that our kidney function changes as we age. The kidneys process fluids more during sleeping hours than when we're active, and they become less efficient at concentrating urine as we get older. That means liquids consumed even several hours before bedtime can interrupt your sleep cycle precisely during those early morning hours. Instead of eliminating fluids, which isn't healthy either, try front-loading your hydration. Harold began drinking most of his daily fluids before 3 p.m., reducing intake after dinner, and stopping completely 2 hours before bed. He kept a small tracking journal of his fluid intake timing and his wake-up times. Within 10 days, he was consistently sleeping until 5:30 a.m., a tremendous improvement that left him feeling rejuvenated. For those evening medication needs, try taking pills with just a small sip of water, not a full glass. And be aware of hidden fluid sources. That bowl of ice cream or cup of gelatin before bed contributes to your fluid intake too. If you do need to get up during the night, keep lighting minimal. Harold installed small motion-activated night lights that provided just enough illumination without the bright bathroom light that had been further waking his brain. Has a nighttime bathroom trip ever kept you awake afterward? Type hydration in the comments if you're going to try adjusting your fluid schedule this week. Tip number 5, address silent inflammation. Those mysterious early morning awakenings might have roots in something you can't see or feel directly. Silent inflammation. This hidden process occurring within your body doesn't just affect your sleep. It's connected to nearly every age-related condition we fear. Dorothy, a vibrant 76-year-old who walked daily and did everything right, couldn't understand why she woke up at 4 a.m. with achy joints and couldn't return to sleep. "I eat well, I exercise. I don't understand what more I can do," she confided, the frustration evident in her voice. What Dorothy was experiencing was her body's inflammatory response peaking during those early morning hours. As we age, our bodies often develop low-grade chronic inflammation that can worsen during sleep. Around 3 to 5 a.m., natural cortisol increases, which can unmask inflammation that's been simmering below the surface all along. Adding specific anti-inflammatory foods to your evening meal can make a remarkable difference. Dorothy began incorporating a small handful of walnuts, half a cup of cherries, or a quarter teaspoon of turmeric into her dinner routine. These foods contain natural compounds that help calm inflammation overnight. Within 2 weeks, she reported sleeping until her alarm at 6:30 a.m., waking with noticeably less stiffness and pain. Another simple solution is to elevate slightly inflamed areas during sleep. Dorothy placed a small pillow under her knees, which reduced the morning aches that had been waking her. For those with arthritis in their hands, wearing compression gloves to bed can reduce early morning inflammation and pain that might wake you prematurely. Remember that evening alcohol, though it might help you fall asleep initially, increases inflammation during the night and often leads to awakenings exactly during that 3 to 5 a.m. window. Have you noticed a connection between pain, stiffness, and early waking? Share your experience with inflammation and sleep in the comments below. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 5 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Tip number 6, optimize your blood sugar balance. Those mysterious early morning awakenings might actually be your body sending you urgent messages about your blood sugar regulation. This silent disruptor affects millions of seniors, often without their knowledge, until it manifests as consistent sleep disturbances. James, a 73-year-old former accountant, was bewildered by his pattern of falling sound asleep at 10 p.m., only to bolt awake at 3:30 a.m., heart racing and mind alert. "It feels like someone flipped a switch in my brain," he described. "One minute I'm deep asleep, the next I'm wide awake with no hope of drifting off again." What James was experiencing was a nocturnal blood sugar drop. While we sleep, our bodies continue to use glucose for energy. For seniors with insulin sensitivity issues, which become increasingly common with age, blood sugar can drop too low during the night. Your body responds by releasing adrenaline to raise blood sugar levels, which unfortunately also wakes you up completely. A small protein-fat snack before bed can work wonders. James started having 2 tablespoons of almond butter on a small apple slice about 30 minutes before bedtime. This provides a slow, steady release of energy through the night without causing blood sugar spikes. He was skeptical at first, but after a week, he found himself sleeping through until 6 a.m. most mornings. Monitoring your dinner composition helps too. James found that meals heavy in refined carbohydrates, like his beloved white pasta, led to more sleep disruptions than evenings when he had meals balanced with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes or quinoa. For those who want to track this connection, keep a simple food diary alongside your sleep record. Note your dinner composition and any bedtime snack, then record your wake time. Patterns often emerge within just a few days. Have you noticed you sleep better after certain types of meals? Share what foods help you sleep through the night in the comments. Tip number 7, address hidden sleep apnea. That seemingly innocent snoring might be hiding something far more serious, a condition that could be jolting you awake in those early morning hours without you even realizing what's happening. And contrary to common belief, you don't need to be overweight to experience it. Rose's husband passed away 5 years ago, so there was no one to tell her she snored or stopped breathing momentarily during sleep. At 71, slim and active, she didn't fit the typical profile for sleep apnea. Yet every morning around 4 a.m., she'd wake gasping slightly, heart racing, unable to fall back asleep. "I thought it was grief or anxiety," she told me. "I never considered it could be a physical problem." Sleep apnea becomes more common as we age, even among those who maintain healthy weight. The muscles in our throat naturally lose tone, and our airways can become more collapsible. When breathing stops momentarily, your brain triggers an emergency response that jolts you awake, often during those early morning hours when sleep is lightest. Look for these subtle signs: waking with a dry mouth or slight headache, feeling unusually tired despite seemingly adequate sleep, or noticing afternoon fatigue that's out of proportion to your activity level. Rose started recording herself sleeping using a simple phone app and was shocked to hear the periods of silence followed by gasping. While a proper sleep study is the gold standard for diagnosis, there are steps you can take tonight. Try sleeping on your side rather than your back. Rose sewed a tennis ball into the back of her pajama top to prevent rolling onto her back during sleep. Elevating the head of your bed by 4 to 6 inches can also help keep airways open. After implementing these changes, Rose found herself sleeping until 6 a.m. most mornings. Have you ever been told you snore, or do you wake with a dry mouth? Type breathing in the comments if you'll try the side sleeping technique tonight. Tip number 8, understand medication timing effects. Those prescription bottles in your medicine cabinet might be the hidden culprits behind your early morning awakenings. The very medications meant to keep you healthy could be sabotaging your sleep in ways your doctor may never have mentioned. Albert, a 77-year-old with several chronic conditions, was taking his blood pressure medication right before bed, as he'd done for years. "I thought I was being responsible," he explained, taking everything exactly on schedule. Yet night after night, he'd wake at 3:30 a.m., alert and unable to fall back asleep. What Albert didn't know is that many common medications, including certain blood pressure medications, steroids, and some antidepressants, can affect sleep architecture and timing. Some medications have diuretic effects that peak during the night, while others might influence brain chemistry precisely during those early morning hours. Ask your pharmacist, not just your doctor, about optimal timing for your medications. Pharmacists often have specialized knowledge about how drug timing affects bodily functions. Albert's pharmacist suggested he take his particular blood pressure medication in the morning rather than at night. Within 3 days, he was sleeping until 5:30 a.m., a dramatic improvement. Create a medication timing chart with guidance from healthcare professionals. Some medications work better taken with dinner, others with breakfast. Albert used a simple chart on his refrigerator as a visual reminder of his new schedule. He found that this not only improved his sleep, but also reduced some other side effects he'd been experiencing. If you take multiple medications, consider requesting a medication review from your doctor or pharmacist specifically focused on sleep effects. Sometimes small adjustments to dosage or timing can make remarkable differences in sleep quality without affecting the medication's primary purpose. Do you take any medications in the evening or right before bed? Share in the comments if you plan to discuss timing adjustments with your healthcare provider. Tip number 9, harness the power of morning light. This final tip might seem counterintuitive, but it holds the secret that has transformed sleep for countless seniors who thought restful nights were behind them forever. The solution to your 3 a.m. awakening might actually be found in what you do at 7 a.m. the next morning. Virginia, an 84-year-old who had struggled with early waking for decades, was skeptical when I suggested that morning light exposure could solve her sleep problems. "How could what I do after waking up possibly affect when I wake up the next day?" she questioned. But desperate for solutions, she decided to try. As we age, our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep, becomes less responsive to environmental cues. This clock needs regular, strong signals to maintain proper timing, and morning light is the most powerful reset button available. When you expose your eyes to bright light within 30 minutes of your desired wake time, you're essentially setting your internal clock, which then determines when melatonin is released the following night. Virginia began a simple routine of enjoying her morning coffee on her east-facing porch, without sunglasses, for 20 minutes each morning. On rainy days, she sat near a 10,000 lux light therapy lamp instead. The transformation wasn't immediate, but after about 10 days, she noticed she was sleeping until 5:45 a.m., a dramatic improvement from her usual 3:30 a.m. awakening. For those in northern climates with limited winter sunlight, a medical-grade light therapy lamp can be life-changing. Position it about 16-18 inches from your face, not looking directly at it, while having breakfast or reading the morning paper. The timing consistency matters tremendously. Virginia found that exposing herself to bright light at the same time each morning, including weekends, was crucial for maintaining her improved sleep pattern. Has anyone suggested light therapy for sleep before? Type sunshine in the comments if you're going to try this powerful approach starting tomorrow morning. As the morning light filters through your window, remember that those early hours need not be filled with frustration and fatigue. The wisdom of your years deserves to be paired with the restfulness that allows you to truly enjoy this golden chapter of life. Each of these 9 approaches addresses something unique about sleep after 70, from the natural shifts in our body's rhythms to the hidden influences of inflammation and medication timing. You don't need to tackle all 9 at once. Perhaps start with the one that resonated most strongly with your situation. Was it addressing those nighttime worries, adjusting your evening temperature, or maybe harnessing the remarkable power of morning light? I'd love to hear which tip speaks most directly to your experience. The wisdom you've gained through your journey might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. Share your story in the comments below. What time do you typically wake up, and which of these approaches will you try first? Remember that small adjustments often lead to profound changes. Eleanor, Martin, Clara, and the others mentioned today weren't looking for dramatic medical interventions, just simple, natural ways to work with their changing bodies rather than against them. If you found value in these suggestions, please help me share this information with others who might be lying awake right now, feeling alone in their struggle. Your like, subscription, and especially sharing this video might be the lifeline someone needs to rediscover the joy of waking refreshed. Sleep well, dear friends. You deserve to greet each morning with energy and optimism rather than exhaustion.